A very good afternoon to you tuned into UBC TV. Welcome to our lunchtime with news with me, Michael Jordan Lukoma. The National Resistance Movement Party caucus has resolved to engage Makerere University administration on a roundtable over the 15% tuition increment. Some of the issues that were agreed upon in the caucus were to find a lasting solution to Makerere University issues, such as having a fairly less tuition for public universities. The caucus, chaired by the party chairman, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, came to such resolutions. We'll give you that story in detail later on. But moving on, a trailer driver coming from the Democratic Republic of Congo was found dead in his trailer. This was at Mpondwe border, Lubirihi Town Council in Kasese district. Residents immediately notified the Ebola response team and police, who rushed at the scene and contained the situation. Samples have been taken from his body to find out what exactly killed him. The Deputy RDC Kasese, Joshua Masereka, called on the residents to remain calm and vigilant since Ebola is still at large in the DRC.
Really, we are more than ready to fight Ebola. Immediately when the dead body was discovered, then our team had to move in, and I think you saw how everybody was dressed. The HO moved in and everybody. We are more than ready. We know Ebola has not yet ended in Congo because there are still some cases, 1, 2, 3, and that one indicates that real Ebola is there. So whenever we hear anything and resembles something like Ebola, we move in action very quickly because we don't want it to spread to our people.
Story not very good from Kasese. Meanwhile, government of Uganda through the National Water and Sewage Corporation has signed with Mbeko Enterprises Limited to upgrade and improve water supply in Kapeka Industrial Park and the surrounding areas. The existing Kapeka water supply system was constructed and commissioned in January 2017. Initially, the project was targeting only Kapeka community. The area now has an industrial park that has exerted pressure on the current water supply needs of Kapeka community and the industrial park, estimated at 1.5 million liters of water per day. Once completed, the project worth 9,011,000 will produce 7 million liters of water per day to cater for the current and future demands of Kapeka Industrial Park and the surrounding areas such as Bukomero and Semuto.
And we had finished everything in time, so there is no such issue.
That's enough.
And it is an agreement of 9,112,528,000. It is going to involve pipe laying. It is going to involve more works in the asked Mbeko to make sure that they work very, very hard so that they can finish the project within time and within cost. If they don't do that, this agreement provides for penalties for being able to come in and handle any non-conformance. We as the employer, we shall also make already there, the government has provided it, so there should be no reason why this work should not proceed as expected.
That's enough.
Office of the Prime Minister has advised the general public not to walk or allow drivers to move them through a flooded road. A report from the message from the Department of Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Management indicates that the rain season is now at its peak. In response, the Disaster Preparedness Department has made deliveries of food and non-food items to the most flood-prone districts in the country.
The general public is informed that the rain season is currently at its peak. people are strongly advised not to walk or to allow drivers, border riders, or cyclists to drive through flooded roads or bridges, even if when the floods appear low, below the knees or rim of the car. In preparedness for the floods, Office of the Prime Minister has made deliveries of relief food and non-food commodities to the most flood-prone districts. So the district of Taleja will receive 30 tons of rice, 20 bales of blankets, 100 pieces of jerrycan, 30 cartons of soap, 100 buckets, 50 dozens of spades, and then the district of Katakwi will receive similar items like I have read above. The rest of the districts will only receive 30 tons of rice. This is Bukomansimbi, Ruchiga, Ajumani, Namutumba, Tororo District, Ntoroko, and Yumbe. These districts listed here will receive a ton of rice each.
We'll now take you back to our story about the NRM caucus that resolved to engage Makerere University administration about the issues at the Ivory Tower.
By yesterday, they had agreed that they are going to dialogue. The Students' Board, the Minister of Education, and the University Council are going to dialogue and come out with how much they pay in Uganda, and then ensure that Makerere at least is the lowest, because it's a public institution, and they should be offering the lowest fees. Even when they are children who are government sponsored, those ones who are paying privately should be offering the lowest. But we should compare how much is UCU paying, how much is KIU paying, how much are all the standard universities, Chambogo. We compare all, then we get the lowest for Makerere. But after comparing, you cannot again be so low below the belt and offer poor quality education.
So we want to see dialogue. The president directed that the army be withdrawn from the university, and I know the students and their leaders will be more than willing to of our great university, and also do not interfere with the learning time. So it's unfortunate what has already happened. Probably we shouldn't have even gotten to that stage if we are listening to each other. And so Parliament, there's a petition also to Parliament to intervene. And I think the best way forward is dialogue. That's why we have student leaders in place, you have administrators in place, and then you have Minister of Education and government. So government would want the administration of these public universities to do a good job.
Target. Dial star 162 hash. Get 100% on data and bonus. Win instantly with Mega Master Pay. Just recharge and hit your target.
Mega Master Pay from Airtel is back. And everyone, we mean everyone, gets a bonus. All you have to do, check your target, recharge, get 100% bonus on data and minutes. Dial star 162 hash today to know your target.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Hello, Uganda! We introduce to you the first and ever My Right to Play Christmas Kids Festival 2019. Let the kids feel the Christmas Eve on the 21st of December at the Legend Sports Ground in Lugogo. Entrance is 10,000 shillings only and parents free. Bring your child and have an opportunity to play, sing, dance and discover their talents. Mujje tuyingira amazaalibwa nga bato basanyusa bato bannaabwe. Mulete abaana bammwe banyumirwe, banywe, bazanye. Kino kigenda kubeera kijjabi. Proudly sponsored by Legend Sports Ground, UBC TV, Star TV, U24 TV, Star FM, Magic 100 FM, UBC Butebo, Marketing, UMC Victoria Hospital, and Ideas Workshop. Bw'oba oyagala omwana wo okuyimba, kuba ku ssimu eno.
Thank you so much for watching. We now take you to our international news, and there, Tunisia's energy balance deficit has worsened in the 2018 to date at a rate of $3.2 billion.
Explained according to the report by the rise in hydrocarbon prices on international markets, as well as by the limited level of primary energy resources, combined with a continuous increase in energy consumption.
This downward trend in activity was reflected in the decline in the number of valid permits, the worsening of primary energy balance deficit, and the absence of new discoveries for the second consecutive year, compared with 3 technical discoveries made in 2016.
According to the Ministry of Energy, the available primary energy resources, including gas royalties collected on the Trans-Mediterranean gas pipeline, fell by around 4.6% in 2018.
National oil production by the natural decline in production in most fields and the cessation of production of certain fields for repair and maintenance work.
Authorities indicated that available gas resources fell by 6.4% in 2018. This reduction is mainly due to the considerable decrease in production from the 4 main fields, as well as in 2018 compared to 2017.
Total natural gas consumption increased by 3% in 2018. This increase is explained by the increase in natural gas consumption for both electricity production and end users.
Economists maintain that Tunisia suffers from an energy deficit that reaches 1/3 of the trade deficit. Authorities say the deterioration in the energy balance contributed more than 65% to the widening trade deficit. The Prime Minister's advisors explained Tunisia's energy deficit by the evolution of the national energy consumption, in particular with the improvement of the standard of living, as well as the decrease in local oil exploration activities.
Now, the first ever African Innovation Week is underway in Ethiopia to showcase development in the sector of innovation on the Black Man's continent.
Aimed at encouraging innovation across the continent, this Africa Innovation Week has created a platform for African innovators, especially startups, to create more jobs for the youth of the continent. The Ethiopian government, alongside the African Union Commission and IBA, Ethiopia's Center for Innovation, have collaborated to put this gathering together.
Events like this Innovation Africa Week helps us a lot to bring investors from anywhere in the world to startups and innovators in Africa. So this platform, the main reason why we are coordinating, we are partnering with African Union Commission and IBA based in Norway, and also with the support of the Royal Norwegian government, is that it brings investors and innovators together.
The event is attended by stakeholders and innovators from Ethiopia, Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana and Kenya, among others.
This is a very good opportunity because it brings some of the brightest minds in Africa across to come together and analyze our ideas, look at our industries and try to push it forward. So if we can innovate in each industry in Africa, we can surely push Africa forward. Bringing forward thinkers, problem solvers, we can obviously innovate in each industry. So that's the rationale behind the event, which is a very brilliant one.
We need to start up and new ideas to solve our problems, because there are a lot of problems that needs to be solved and really managed. So as an event starting up innovation, so it's an important weekend, an important event for me.
Policy makers and experts alike emphasize on better investment in innovation startups in Africa for a brighter future for the youth.
In 2019, there is a list of world ecosystem, and none of African cities are among the lists. I think it's time that we start investing into the startup ecosystem, into the incubation ecosystem.
The 6 days event will be featuring thematic areas that include women innovation, entrepreneurship, agri-tech, smart cities, all important areas of growth for Africa.
Kenya's Flower Festival has displayed artistic flora designs unique on the whole continent.
A glamorous flora affair celebrating the Kenya Flower Festival, 20 exhibitions with stunning artistic designs from the country's blooming sector. It took Rosemary Kimunya a little under a year to put this show together using carefully selected flower enthusiasts.
We wanted the florists to shine. We wanted them to showcase their art. We wanted the growers to be really part of this. So for them, it's not even necessarily about selling. It's about showcasing what we grow in Kenya. And for us, that is very humbling.
From newcomers to one of the oldest growers Kenya has to offer, it's a blooming showcase of the finest flowers grown locally. But this event in particular not only celebrates flower farmers, it also shows strong support for breast cancer awareness.
When you think about breast cancer, it's a woman affair, and flowers are a woman affair. So for us, the first ever event needed to recognize such kind of women who've survived, who are still battling.
Some of these flower farmers have been in the business for years and export to numerous countries across Africa and abroad.
We started growing our orchids like 3 years ago. We sell locally and internationally. We do export to United States, Japan, and mostly Singapore.
So the business is doing well. And if you are a flower enthusiast, passionate about keeping the environment clean, look no further.
I started as a passion of cutting glass, and I realized that from wine bottles and whiskey bottles, most of the guys who wanted me to cut their bottles wanted flower vases. And so I add value to waste into flower vases.
According to the Kenya Flower Council, the country is the largest exporter of roses to the European Union with a market share of about 38%. Even though Kenya is a leading flower exporter, Rosemary Kimunya says not enough Kenyans immerse themselves in the flower culture. Through this elegant floral event, she hopes to share her knowledge and change that narrative while supporting local flower farmers.
Thank you so much for watching. From the international news, we're taking a very short break. We'll wind up with a brief interview about something very pertinent. Please keep around.
This weekend on UBC.
My name is Nkayo Hannington, winner of the NSSF Friends with Benefits Season 2. I used my winnings to boost my agricultural production and give a chance to the people in my community to work.
So join us this year for the 3rd season of the NSSF Friends with Benefits as 16 Ugandans life-changing things. So tune in every Sunday with your host Gaetano and I, and special new host Uncle D. It's another incredible display. It's the NSSF Friends with Benefits.
And that's not all. You have the power to vote for your favorite stories to win up to 55 million shillings.
The life. To improve the quality and output of poultry, our farmer is advised to crossbreed their chicken, and that in healthy local chicken starts with procuring disease-free birds. And this requires the buyer to be very observant while buying birds.
So that pot I put charcoal in it. I put charcoal in it, then I put salt, and then it becomes warm. Then I also use hurricane.
Droppings are rich in nutrients, can be used for composite making, pond fertilizing, and as feed for livestock.
Once again, good afternoon and thank you so much for watching. We now return with brief discussion, like I said a few minutes ago. We're going to talk about project management, what it is and what more we can understand about it. We have a whole institute in Uganda. We're also going to briefly get to know about it before we wind up. My guest, Mr. Barije Morris, is from the Project Management Institute, Uganda. You're welcome, boss.
Thank you, Michael.
With Miss Pasima Sule.
That's right.
She comes from the Solid Rock Life and Business, and she is the CEO.
That's right.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'll start with you, boss. What is project management, briefly?
Project management is a profession like many others. It's about how we run our projects in a particular manner. I like telling people that if you wanted to get an accountant, for example, or an auditor, would you get anyone out there? You'd have to get someone who is actually qualified to do that job. And then the challenge here is that many people think, no, this is just something that I can run around, and that's not the thing. The idea is that the project is something that is specific, that has a particular way in which it is run. There are professional ways of actually managing it, and that's what we try to promote as an institute. Yeah.
So in Uganda, what do we do with this profession?
So the profession here in Uganda has actually, we are trying to promote the need for actually running the profession in a very, very organized way. Because you have a number of projects that are actually failing, and you have a number of projects that are overrunning cost, overrunning time. So the idea here is to try and ensure that all these projects actually come back to the right path, they are running in the proper manner, and actually we have better professionals running this particular project. It's actually a very precise profession and needs to be followed as such.
Okay. Ms. Pasima, what is the role of project management in infrastructure development?
Well, I like what he says about it. It's a precise profession. So in terms of infrastructure development, it's projects that enable infrastructure development.
Okay.
Right. So if there are projects, then you need professionals that are trained to run projects.
Okay.
For infrastructure development to be successful in any country, you're going to have to need successful projects.
It's a combination of many projects?
So infrastructure development, you can have projects in construction because you're developing the infrastructure of a country. So you have projects in construction, projects in waters, projects in information technology.
Yes.
So all these different projects are what enable the infrastructure development in the country. But as my colleague said, if you don't have the right trained professionals overseeing these projects, bringing every pieces of the project together, the projects will fail, and hence infrastructure development will be hindered, because project management is a science and an art. So it is a structured and a disciplined profession where we learn how to kick off a project, initiate a project, take it through the different phases of the project, engage in all the different stakeholders, because in infrastructure development you have multiple players.
Okay.
You have public players, you have private players, you have the project team that is implementing the project. And if you're doing an infrastructure development project in a local community, you have, to consider the stakeholders in that community, because infrastructure development comes with changes sometimes, in our landscape, in our environment, in social in the social atmosphere of a community. So many changes come with infrastructure development, infrastructure projects.
Do you think in those parts of the world where there are gaps in as far as infrastructure development is concerned, it's due to gaps in project management?
I absolutely think so. Because you know why? The U.S. Department of Defense, basic tools that we use in project management called the work breakdown structure.
Okay.
That was the Department of Defense. Another tool that we use, the PERT tool, which is used for scheduling, was the Navy Department. And then the PRINCE tool, which is the UK government methodology for project management, UK government. So all the projects in the Western world are run through structured project management discipline. Okay. And that's why they're successful. And that's why the infrastructure is good. And that's why they're booming.
Okay, Mr. Barije, so what do we have to do? Because I think we are one of those parts of the world where we are still... So here we are with you people that do the same, but the gaps are glaring.
Well, so the institute is only 5 years old. The profession has been in existence for hundreds of years. The institute in Uganda is only 5 years old.
So the profession is as old as the gaps?
The profession is as old as mankind.
That's
it's
right.
just scientific manner. You notice that in any environment, you try and use science and precise science and art mechanism to address a problem. So as an institute, what we're trying to do is trying to say, how do we become, like my colleague Pasima said, how do we become like those other countries where the projects are run on time, where things work? Every day in the newspapers, the other day, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, was talking about the number of projects that are actually going to be closed without being properly finished. Why? So the idea here we have is that these actually should be run in a proper manner. So we promote the practice of how this should be run.
Can you break down that proper manner?
The proper manner is that you have a particular set of tools and mechanisms that should be followed, because you can't take corners. There's a particular way you need to begin a project. There's some things that need to be in place. There needs to be something like a project charter. You need to define who your stakeholders are going to be. You need to be able to talk about all these things. Yeah, and then you're able to bring all these things together, like she said, in a particular measured and timely manner, so that you actually achieve success at the end of the project.
I want you to drop the technical language now.
Yes.
What's the picture of project management in Uganda?
And
this is where you are yourself.
Yes, fantastic. And this is something that we're trying to address and say, look, right now, anyone can become a project manager, but let them have the training. Let them have the training to be able to run these particular projects. And that is why we've organized the conference, for example, tomorrow, so that people come and share experiences. They look at real life projects. This is the second national conference, incidentally. The first one was in 2017 under the theme of agriculture. This one is under infrastructure, is talking about infrastructure development. And I mean, thanks to people like Solid Rock who have sponsored us. But the idea is that we try and let people know, share their experiences, and know that it's actually possible. Ugandans are actually running successful projects. What are the tools? What is the knowledge? And be able to be successful in our internal projects, whether it's at home, whether it's in the public sector, whether it's in the private sector.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us about the conference.
So the conference is tomorrow. It's at Hotel Africana. It's the whole day. It is going to be running from 8 o'clock up to 6 o'clock. We have an array of 31 speakers. The guest of honor is going to be the Minister of State for Planning, Honorable David Bahati. You have a great number of, we've had a great response from from sponsors, Solid Rock, Ministry of Finance, INOLID, Uganda Communications Commission, and you have people from around the world coming to give their experience. The keynote speaker is Dr. Derek Kayongo. He was a CNN hero in 2011. He's a Ugandan-born CEO of a global soap project based in New York. He's coming to share his experiences. You have speakers from Cameroon, speakers from Nigeria, speakers from Botswana, and Canada as well. So all these are coming together to try and share experiences. And you also have people from Uganda, NITA Uganda, Uganda Communications Commission, Ministry of Finance, Uganda National Oil Company. How are all these people learning from the job, learning to make projects work? What are the tools that are successful? They will also talk about the failures that they've had, the challenges that they've had, and how have they been able to address the challenges, or they come to seek for answers in how this can be addressed.
Okay, so who is invited and who is not invited? Who will be a trespasser kind of?
No, everyone is invited.
Okay.
Everyone is invited as long as you have the interest.
What time?
Today's event, and we start at 8 tomorrow, Thursday, 31st, Hotel Africana.
Thank you so much. His name is Mr. Barije Maurice. He's the president, Project Management Institute.
Correct.
He came along with Miss Pasima Sule from the Solid Rock Life and Business.